What's going on, Wolves and Warriors? My name's Jay Stewart, and this is the Better Body Academy podcast, the #1 show for those looking to permanently overhaul their mind and body without dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. We banish the fitness industry BS and replace it with science-backed strategies proven through countless client transformations. In the Better Body Academy, we help busy men and women around the world get unstuck and back into momentum so they start feeling strong and sexy again. Our mission is to transform 1 million lives, and you, my friend, could be next. And on that note, let's get straight into today's show. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast, guys. Your podcast that you come to if you're sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to overcome your habits. Now, this is really the challenge of life, isn't it? Because we are indeed a printout of the set of habits that we have. So if we don't like our outcomes, what we need to do is go back to our habits and have a bit of a look at the reason why we're getting the outcomes that we have. We're going to go into this in a little bit more detail, but first I want to put a shout out to our female BBA crew, and specifically the girls whose transformations I've posted recently. Basically, the bravery to have your kind of bikini shots thrown up on Facebook it's super brave, and there's a bunch of really cool transformations that are coming through our female academy now. And I want to shout you ladies out for having the courage to be there as pudding provers to other women who are thinking, you know what, I'd like to do something at some stage. It's quite a courageous thing if you really think about it. But if any of the posts that have gone out so far are examples of what happens when you put yourself out there and you get so much love back going, well done, well done, well done. So this is why I think before and after photos are super powerful. I also want to shout out one of my favorite clients, Christy, who I spoke to for about half an hour last night, and she is killing it overcoming her demons of gym phobia. That is so cool when you can face your fears and walk into the fire and go and do hard stuff. Okay, guys, so we're going to be talking in this episode about something I shared with my mastermind students last weekend, and I really do think it is a really, really simple insight. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because when I figure out something that's happening in my life that's stopping me from moving forward, I think it really helps to share that, because I am by no means not even close to perfect. And I'm still making mistakes, and this was a mistake that I was making in my business around habits. And I think there's a couple of cool takeaways that can actually come from this. So let me set the scene to add some context, and then I'm going to bring it back to you at the end. So the Better Body Academy program, okay, we have men and women in the program, and basically all of the way that we bring in clients is through #1, the podcast, and #2, just by posting constantly on social media. And we call this social media marketing, okay? Now, because our demographic tends to be in that vicinity of, say, 25, 30, 40, most people are on Facebook and Instagram, right? And so for me, I've always just put a bunch of stuff up on daily, turning up every day on Facebook and Instagram. And the reason that I do that is because I think it's really important that before you take on a coach or a mentor, you get to know them first. And that's exactly what I did. I got to know my coach, my mentor, through Facebook first before I ever purchased off him. The truth is, you have to have some level of alignment with your coach or your mentor before you can do it. And the best way to do that is to engage with their free content and make sure that you feel like it's a good fit for you. So to those who've come into the program, I'm really glad that you felt like it's a good fit. And obviously seeing other people's transformations really helps. I digress. I've got the hang of Instagram and Facebook. It's easy. You just turn up every day, and it's very comfortable for me to do that. And one of the things that I wanted to do was expand my content across to LinkedIn and TikTok. Now, these are slightly different platforms. Facebook and Instagram are very similar in the way they operate. And they obviously are very attracting to our crowd, our age range, right? But then increasingly, we're having so many people pick up on TikTok and pick up on LinkedIn being more of a business platform. And so in order to obviously scale our Better Body Academy message, what I wanted to do was try to get across more platforms. And one of the things that was holding me back, and this sounds like such a silly thing, But on Facebook and Instagram, you basically have no character count in the posts. And as you guys know, I do long posts to try to tell a story so you can relate to the story. And on Instagram and Facebook, you basically have no character counts. But on LinkedIn, you have a very short character count. And this basically stops you from just simply taking a post that you make on LinkedIn and then, on Facebook or Instagram, and then putting it on LinkedIn as well. And I know you're going to be thinking like, what the hell's this got to do with me? Why are you talking about the story? Because it's a story about habits and me making this mistake. So I was procrastinating. Okay. I wanted to be on LinkedIn. I wanted to be on LinkedIn because I know that that's a whole new crowd of people. But the problem was, as I kept stopping myself from going on LinkedIn. And the reason is because I thought to myself, hang on, I'm going to have to rewrite all these new posts. So I'm doing twice the amount of work to be able to post on LinkedIn. Okay. So how many times have you been kind of floored by the idea of, oh man, I've got to do like, this is going to take me twice as long, and you end up procrastinating and never actually doing anything. And so this is what I was doing. I was procrastinating because I thought it's going to take me twice as long to do. And as a result, I wasn't on LinkedIn, and I've procrastinated for approximately a year. Then what happened was I had a communication with my coach, and he said, you know what the simple answer to this, Jace, is? When you've got a post that's too long to fit into the character count, all you do is just cut the post short and post the rest in the comments. And at the bottom of the post, you basically say, okay, read the rest in the comments. And people do. Like, what a simple solution, of which I could have been posting for a year on LinkedIn, but I wasn't because I didn't come up with a solution. Instead, I stayed stuck. Now what has happened since then, I've become extremely consistent on LinkedIn. Now, how have I become able to do that? I've been able to do that by putting focus. Once I found a solution and got into momentum on this platform, I've been able to be consistent by just focusing on this one thing. I'm just gonna post on LinkedIn once a day, okay? And I didn't try to take on LinkedIn and TikTok and this and that and this and that and all these different things at once. I just focus on what I call habit stacking, okay? So I want you to think about whenever you've been successful in building new habits into your life, did you build these habits, as part of a collection of 15 things that you did at once? Or it could have been a business habit, it could have been a health habit, it could have been anything, a wealth habit, doesn't matter. Or did you do that and achieve that habit by bringing it in once and focusing on that one thing? I think this is a very, very underrated concept. Focusing on one thing at a time. See, for you, in your transformation, what happens is you get really energized and really excited about the idea that, oh man, I can do this, do that. And you know what happens? You get so far out of your comfort zone that you hit what we call the terror barrier. The terror barrier is when you go, too much, and you end up back in your comfort zone. You end up quitting because you're so far out of your comfort zone trying to build multiple habits at one time that you just give up. And then what will happen is in 2 or 3 months' time, you'll feel that discomfort again and you'll be like, all right, I've got to give this another go. And then you'll try to take on all this perfect kind of plan to be across multiple things at once. And then you'll end up back in your comfort zone because you get overwhelmed. This is what happens when people come into transformations. They try to take on too much at once. And then when you take on too much at once, your brain, your mind, your body gets overwhelmed. Computer says no. It shuts down. So if I look back to my example here, all I did was focused on one thing. Firstly, I come up with what is a creative solution by talking to my coach and being able to put something in place. Very simple workaround. And the second thing that I did was I just stayed consistent on that one thing for somewhere in the vicinity of 20 to 30 days. Now, they all say that it takes 21 days to build a habit and all that sort of stuff. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't care. What I do know is it takes persistence and consistency to build a habit. So the two takeaways that I want you to think about from this podcast episode is this. Sometimes when we're trying to replace, inverted commas, a bad habit with a good one, it requires us to kind of look at our life as a third person, step back out of being so reactive to the thing that keeps happening. Oh, I've got no time. Oh, I can't do it. I've just got no time. And we keep reacting to this voice in our head. Instead, step back, cool your jets and step back and look at what the problem is that you're trying to solve. And more often, there is a solution that potentially you can come up with by speaking to your coach or speaking to a friend who's already solved that problem before, if you just cool your jets and step back. An example of this at the moment is, oh, what am I going to do? COVID, I can't train, there's no gym, all the world's... No. We'll just get you a home program sorted. No issue. But you've got to be able to step back and stop being reactive and look at the situation and ask, how can I solve this? So just step back first. When we try to solve our challenges from a negative mindset, it's very, very difficult to overcome them. So takeaway number one is when you're faced with trying to bring some change in your life, the first thing you need to be able to do is step back and look at the entire picture. Not just that one thing that's causing you the problem. Oh, I can't stop eating. Or I just can't get to the gym. It's like we keep reacting instead of coming back a little bit and then choosing our response once we've had a look at the whole situation. So that's the first takeaway that you should be making here. Stop reacting, look at the bigger picture here. The second thing, and I think this is the most important takeaway from this episode, is that really strong habits are built one at a time. One at a time. And I call this process habit stacking. Okay? So I want you to think about this. If you build one habit, but then lose a habit, a good habit at the